Yo, what up YouTube? It's Jason the Barber, and I know y'all been asking for a new tutorial, so guess what I got for y'all today? Alright, so I don't want to bore y'all with a long intro, and I want to get right into this tutorial, but it's a juice haircut. It's sort of like a box, a high top box with a part around the side right here. And we got a bald fade all the way around, and he got a rat tail in the back. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it right now. Alright, so I always been wanting to try this. Hope this YouTube magic worked for me. Let me see. I know, man. Look at my babies. They so precious. First thing I gotta do is clean everything. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure the client see you cleaning everything so they know that cleanliness is top priority. I can't go nowhere without the cool care. And this, my friends, is what we working with. We done been in the quarantine for a little while, so yeah. Rule number one, like rules matter. Do they matter? You gotta comb out your client's hair. You gotta detangle. That means a pick, a comb, or a brush. Skirt. First thing we gotta ask ourselves is, where we gonna put this bald line? Cause if we mess up this bald line, the rest of our fade gonna be messed up too. The trimmers I like to use are the Andis Slimline Pro Li. The power and the battery life are dope. Now when they come out the box, the blade gonna be factory zero gap. But not zero gap like I like the zero gap, the true zero gap, so you can get that real close to the skin shave. My guy Texas bred and he got a rat tail, so I gotta make sure that I don't cut it. So I make a reference point. And it's gonna be the same point used for the bald guideline and the top of the rat tail. I come around to the front and do the same thing. Make a reference point for the bald guideline. Now, all you gotta do is connect the dots. Before I bald out the bottom, I gotta make sure I outline his rat tail so I don't accidentally cut it off. And there it is. I get asked all the time about the clippers I use. These are the clippers I use. The Wall Magic Clip Cordless. Now let's talk about lever position. Open position, closed position. To make the second guideline, I'm gonna use a bare blade with the lever all the way in the open position. And I'm gonna go up about 3/4 of an inch. Now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna close the lever and slightly open it. And the area that I'm feathering is between the first and the second guideline. And this is that flick out motion used to feather out this area. Notice I use the size of the blade to flick out. After that, close the lever, and this is when you're gonna get rid of that very first guideline. This time, you're gonna flick out with the corner of the blade. I'm gonna do the same in the front, lever slightly open, then all the way closed. Now let's get rid of all this bulk below his ridge. So I'm gonna take the number one guard with the lever all the way closed, and I'm gonna clear out about 1 inch. Now I can see where I'm going. And this is the third guideline. With the number one guard and the closed lever, you're gonna flick up about 3/4 of the way between the second and the third guideline. Make sure you're using the flick out motion while you do it. Nah, I'm kinda OCD when it comes to haircuts, so I need to have every hair in place where it needs to be, either on the client's head or on the floor. I put on the 1.5 guard with the lever open, and this is where I'm starting to make that shape my client wants. You could use clipper rubber comb to get the same result.
Ew, why is so blurry?
I'm sorry y'all, I touched the lens and I ain't know it. Always use the flick out motion, no matter what guard you got on. While I'm doing this, I'm slowly closing the lever so I can get that color that I'm looking for. I put the 1 guard on and I open the lever halfway. And I'm gonna blend between those areas where I use the 1.5 guard and the 1 guard closed. This is like that halfway point between both those areas. Now this blend about to get real. You got a bare blade with the lever all the way open. And now we about to feather that 3rd guideline. You gotta use the corner of the blade and keep flicking it. That's what's gonna feather it. I, Jason the Barber, don't use the 1/2 guard or 0.5 because it's pointless on this specific hair type. To feather it out even more, I like to use the claw method with the blade all the way open. What I'm doing here is using the side of the blade to knock out some of those dark spots I see in the blend. Before I start shaping, I gotta pick out the hair and stiffen it up with some holding spray so that the hair won't get pushed out the way. This what barbers turn into sculptors. You gotta have that steady hand. You gotta work on that steady hand. Always stop ever so often so you can comb it out. That way you get the most even cut. Further towards the bottom of the blend, you might want to consider using a brush because it's more effective. The comb separates the hair while the brush gathers it and removes debris. Now we're gonna work out these troubling dark spots that's caused by the density changes in the hair. This is where all us barbers become illusionists. You got the bare blade with the lever all the way open, and you're gonna start to lightly fade out or feather out those dark spots. Skirt, you know me, I see some, gotta get it. Yup, there it is. Just repeat the process on the back and the other side. This the moment I know a lot of y'all been waiting on, the line up. And what's the first thing we gotta do? You guessed it right, comb it out. I take my number 1 guard with the lever all the way open and I start to get these flyaways or these random hairs sticking out. I'm closing the lever so I can get those last little stubborn ones. I need an open bare blade so I can take care of this dark spot. This is 70% isopropyl alcohol on the neck strip. It's gonna remove all the oil from his hairline and his forehead. A little bit of holding spray. I'm gonna be productive and pick his hair out while the holding spray sets. First steps to getting the even lineup is to identify the center of your client's natural line. Create a reference point. Make another reference point on the weak side of the hairline. And now it's just a matter of connecting the dots. I got bars. But for real, when you make this line, You want to make it as straight as possible, but keep it as natural as possible. Then connect the corner. This is what's gonna make the lineup pop. We gonna swing to the opposite side and do the same thing. In order for you to get your vertical bars identical, use your client's facial features, like their eyebrows or whatever is in line with that vertical bar. And you're gonna use that same reference point on both sides. Now that I'm done, I'm checking both sides to make sure that they match. Now it's time to put in some razor work. Now you got to be careful. You have to make sure that you're pulling the skin away from the blade. Make sure that the skin is taut so you don't end up cutting your client. Now it's time to talk about enhancements. Not everybody's gonna feel the same about enhancements, but to each his own. I, Jason the Barber, like to use 2 different types of enhancements. You have your hair dye, which I'm applying now. And now we got the hair fibers. A little holding spray. And lightly dust the hairline with the hair fibers. You want to get some overspray on his forehead too. Lightly dust it. And some holding spray that's going to lock the fibers in. Now we about to shape it up, but before we do that, we got to pick it out. I got my bare blade with the lever all the way closed, and I'm going to start shaping the high top of his haircut. This is gonna show me where I'm gonna need to put that part in. So I gotta shape it up first so I can see where I need to put the part. The worst thing you wanna do in this area is make a line too wide. So what I do is make smaller lines, and collectively they will make a bigger line. You want to make sure to keep the shape throughout this whole process, so you keep sculpting as you go along. Anytime you see the need to switch back and forth, do it. The goal is to make a uniform line and a nice shape. It's almost time to wrap this thing up, but the last thing we gotta do is to put the finishing touches on the lineup. And lastly, tap it again with that razor blade. Make sure you're keeping the skin stretched. Pull it away from the blade. This the cut. If you like it, go ahead and hit that like button and leave a comment. If you want to see more tutorials like this, all you got to do is subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new content. I know